And this is where, especially, we in the Western world, when new investment schemes come up, especially if there is media hype with it, it is very easy, tempting, to be pulled into it. And this is where, as followers of Ali, we have to think about it. The very first question should be, is this halal or not? Not just because everybody is going into it, we also go into it. A Muslim does not go into just any new investment scheme without looking at the Sharia perspective. Look at this whole issue these days. In the last few months, I've been getting many questions also about the cryptocurrency, such as Bitcoin. Is it halal or not? Should we invest in that or not? Yes, last year the price was around $930 to $978. And by the end of the last year, it reached to about 20,000, one Bitcoin. And so there was temptation. If it's going so high, of course, then it came down halfway. And so this is where we have to see that, what is it? First of all, it is decentralized currency beyond the control of governments or financial institutions or the regulators. Things are not yet crystal clear on cryptocurrency. There is no organization that decides when to make more Bitcoins, for example, or to figure out how many, Bitcoins will be produced, or to keep track of where they are, or investigate fraud on this issue. Every Bitcoin transaction is recorded by what is known as blockchain. It's kind of a ledger. And this is done by whom? Not by a bank, not by a financial institution, not by the government. It is done by volunteers around the world. Of course, they are rewarded through that process. So they are, in a way, voluntarily working for it. They are still being paid for it. And so there is a lot of, volatility is a very unstable situation here. And some people even compare that to the dot-com bubble of a few years ago, where the hype was there, and then all of a sudden the bubble just, went zero. And this is something, once you have sent the money, it's irreversible. If you send the money to somebody who is scamming you, or a hacker who stole from your computer, there is no organization, no institution in the world where you can go and complain about it, and there will be no investigation about it. And so we see that the governments themselves around the world, in the West and the East, have taken a cautious approach, what we call ihtiyat. And they are careful about it. Some of them are restricting it. Some of them are basically banning it. Some governments are thinking about how to regulate it and control it. But if they are able to regulate and control it, it is no more cryptocurrency. The whole issue is that it's decentralized, not controlled by anyone. And so if they reach to that point, then it becomes, something very, very normal. And one of the problems that the governments have that, lack of central control and high risk of money laundering. Now, what about mujtahideen? They also have been getting this question in the last few months. Our mujtahideen also have very cautious approach on this mas'ala, just like the governments. When we look at it, the latest article on this issue, which talks about the opinion of the Maraji, some of them say we still don't know about the status of cryptocurrency, whether it is real commodity or not. Does it have instinct value or not? Because the issues are unclear, they say we don't have a fatwa at the moment. We are still, studying about it more. There is only one person among those who are, reputable, class of mujtahideen. I'm not talking about the fringe, elements you have everywhere, who has allowed it, provided the government where you reside has allowed that. So he's basically leaving it on the issue of if it is legal in your country, you can then use it. But majority of the mujtahideen, including people like Ayatollah Sistani, Ayatollah Makarim Shirazi, Ayatollah Wahid Khurasani, they actually have said it's haram to trade and invest in cryptocurrency at the moment. And so you have to realize that, things are not yet clear. The issue, sometimes I saw a write-up, somebody has said, well, it's not part of Ayn Najis item. Yes, agree. It's not like pork, that it will be haram to have anything to do with it as far as transaction is concerned. And yes, there is no riba and interest process involved in it. But the ambiguity about the intrinsic value of cryptocurrency is still a problem. In Sharia, something becomes, jaiz and permissible for transaction and, trade, provided it has a meaningful use in eyes of the people. And it is considered to be something which has the, intrinsic value. If it doesn't have that, then it's not considered to be a commodity which can be bought or sold. I'll give you one example. Human blood is najis. If you look at all the fiqh books of 50 years ago, they will not only say, when they talk about the rules of tijarat and business and transaction in Islam, they say one of the items in which you cannot trade, you cannot buy or sell, is blood. Because those days, blood was not known to be something useful outside your body. It is very essential for our life, but once it comes out, it doesn't have any value. And so it was not that there is an ayat or a hadith saying that, buying or selling of blood is haram. They said this entity doesn't have intrinsic value, and therefore it cannot be sold or bought. Later on, medical science advanced. And now medical science can actually, preserve the blood that they take from people to be used for those who need. So now the nature, the mawdu has changed, because now there is a value to it. And therefore, when the mawdu changes, the hukum, the law also will change. And so now you will see that according to all the mujtahideen, they say, to buy or sell blood is permissible. And if you can buy and sell, of course, donating blood is also permissible, is a good thing. In Canada, I don't think you can buy or sell blood, but I'm just talking about the perspective of the Sharia, that how the fatwa could change when the mawzu changes. So an entity which had no value before, it was not permissible to trade or sell it. Now that it has become valuable, the hukum has changed. And so on this issue also, we still have, to wait. And this is where the mujtahideen at the moment are taking, a cautious approach on this issue. And so the rules can change in future. This is where I don't want you to come and tell me, oh, Maulana, you said it's haram. And this is very clear that rules can change in the future depending on more clarity about the various aspects of cryptocurrency, from mining to utilizing and investing in that.